Hello all and welcome, and I am the Realist Philosopher, and in today's video I would like to discuss the idea of society. Now first off, I'd like to say that society itself doesn't exist. The word itself originates from the 16th century, and it refers to a collective of people who reside in a specific geographic area in a more or less orderly way. That said, the idea where one is referring to all people living in an area as if they were one unit is absolutely 100% false. There is no society. There's only individuals. This perception, this identification of groups, it's merely how we conceptualize large numbers of people. It's an abstract idea, you see, and not one that exists in and of itself in objective reality. That being the case, what's the purpose of drumming into the heads of people again and again and again, over and over and over, this idea that society exists and it exists as one giant collective? Well, that's easy. It's to control people, of course. We've all seen how identity politics allows those in positions of power to weaponize people along racial and ethnic lines. Well, the same is done with the idea of society. You are a member of a large collective that is comprised of all of us, you see. That's what you're told. And you have duties to that collective that must be fulfilled. Yes, work, pay taxes, consume, and of course, obey. Look out for your fellow citizens. It's your duty to take care of others, after all. Of course, society became a more benign term after the Western Enlightenment and as the church and state lost a great deal of their power, but it has been re-weaponized of late, at least in the West, as the governments of Western countries have continued to grow ever larger. You see, the stronger the state gets, the stronger the idea of society over the individual gets. You see, you as an individual owe certain debts to the state upon birth, and you must pay them whether you like it or not. You also have obligations to the quote-unquote society that you're a part of, duties that must be performed. Yes, it's your duty to get married. It's your duty to have kids so that you can further indebt yourself. And of course, it's your duty to have those kids so that you can have another generation, so that those in power can have another generation of tax livestock, all the while enriching the global elites. Yes, it's your duty as a good citizen to help society by helping those less privileged than yourself in the form of taxes. Yes, help the poor, the homeless, help those in need. And you have no choice in the matter, by the way. It's simply your duty to your fellow man. In this way, the state, or whatever powers that be, well, they can manipulate you to do whatever is good for them under the guise of doing whatever is good for you. But it's not good for you. It's not good for your fellow citizens. For example, it doesn't help the homeless man to give him free food. That simply enables him and incentivizes him to be homeless. And it certainly doesn't help you to pay more taxes to support this homeless person or the single mother who made bad choices and chose the wrong man because she knew that she could be irresponsible and not have to suffer the consequences of her actions. And instead, she would be supported by the state, meaning by you, in the form of taxes. How does any of this help you? It doesn't help you, but it does help the state grow bigger. It does help those in positions of power. The idea of society is a creation designed to get you to act as if you're a member of a collective. And collectives are far easier to control than individuals. 325 million Americans, they're pretty difficult to control as individuals. But if you convince them all that they're members of a vast collective that should serve the needs of the quote-unquote collective good, not their good, but the collective good, well, they won't even hesitate to do so. Yeah, it's a given because you've been indoctrinated, you've been taught, you've been trained to believe that you should never act selfishly in your own best interest, that that which serves the greater good comes before your own needs and wants. That said, if society isn't a real thing, then what is it that binds us together? Well, that's easy. Culture, language, borders. You see, we Americans, we happen to share similar or the outright same views on many things. This isn't because we were taught some ideology which says, believe this or believe that. No. It's because we all came from similar places and are of the same race. We evolved in similar environments, and we inherited the wisdom of our ancestors: logic, reason, critical thinking, and the scientific method. We share much of the same history, and we have similar levels of intelligence. It's because of all these things and more that we have so much in common. You see, our culture doesn't mean we're a collective. Our culture is simply an expression of our individual values, which happen to be very much alike because of our shared history and lineage. The idea of a collective, it's a misnomer, okay? It's not something that actually exists. Yes, people can collectivize for a particular purpose. They can gather together to serve said purpose, but they don't become those collectives. They don't possess one combinative stomach to digest food with, nor do they have one collective mind to think with. No. All collectives, be them societies or a collective which is more specific in its focus, such as focusing around race or sexual orientation, they all exist to serve just one purpose, and that purpose being to control you. They exist to tell you what to do, what to think, what to eat, what to drink, and how best to live your life. So now you know. Now you know what society really is. And perhaps you now see the breadth and scope of just how much of your life and conception of the world is completely, utterly false. To be a member of a group doesn't mean you become the group. The person is not a drop of water, and when that drop of water hits the ocean, it then becomes the ocean. No. First of all, men are not water, and we never become the ocean, as much as some of us might wish that to be the case. A man or woman is always the drop, no matter what, and can never be something else. And the moment you accept the concept that the drop, which is a man or woman, can become the ocean as a truism, well, that's the moment you give up your identity entirely. There is you, and there is only you. Anything else is a construct, an illusion maintained for the purpose of control. I am the realist philosopher, and I hope that makes the subject of what society really is a bit clearer for you. I wish you well, and I hope you take care. Farewell.